Life's a game. The world's a stage, and we are merely role-players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. I'm Matt Boothman, and I'm your compere and keeper for this studio production. Here on Merely Role-Players, we improvise stories, and we use the rules of role-playing games, so even we don't know which way things will go, because we just love the drama. This episode is part of It Feeds on Fire, one of our studio productions. In this production, we're playing the Silt vs. role-playing game, published by The Gauntlet, and based on the Silt vs. audio drama by John Ware and Muna Hussein. So please take your seats in the studio. Tonight's production is about to begin. It Feeds on Fire, a Merely Role-Players studio production. Act 2 of 3.
It would be correct to say that, technically speaking, as envoys of the Bureau, we're kind of, it's like military police. Like, we're sort of in charge.
Technically,
they should
yes.
collaborate. Okay, just to know kind of where we stand with
right? The incident came to the Bureau's attention. You don't know whether they actually asked for help or not.
Yes.
Yeah. So we might have been sent without them knowing about it.
But yes, technically you have authority to investigate anything possibly to do with stray deities. In practice, people generally don't like the feds coming in and stepping on their toes. So and you are not given any kind of support. So there's nobody you can call to be like, Mum, they're saying we can't come in the facility. You got to solve your problems yourself. I think we should answer a question here. We've got 3 clues.
I agree. Yeah.
And your characters don't have to be together for this because the discussion is mostly done out of character. You can throw in character details and revelations if you want. But the answer a question happens when you have an open discussion about what the answer to a question might be. The roll is 2d6 minus the complexity of the question, which is 2, plus the number of clues you incorporated. Mm-hmm. So you could potentially get this up to a +1 if you incorporate all the clues here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the question that we're currently working on is, who's in the most danger from the rogue god?
I mean, I think the Templar armor customized to terrify kind of solidified that it's not them. It's not the SSPC. It's not the Templars. Otherwise, geez Louise, man. She had a Zweihander. She had a big old sword.
Yeah.
I don't think you're in danger.
I mean, the question is the rogue god then, have they not actually taken over the people? Have they taken over the SSPC? Because in a way that could put them in danger if they are, we don't really know. I mean, technically, we walked in here not even knowing if there was a rogue god. So kind of figuring out who exactly is being manipulated and why.
And your other clues, as a reminder, are that banish hesitation is being used as a protest slogan.
Yep.
And those weird bollards, not just across the high street, but across several main roads in Ornglen.
Banish hesitation, that one's...
That one's really like... That's a really wild slogan for a protest. I feel like in America, we would get jailed for that. Yeah. You know, like that's the kind of wild ass slogan that is. It's
unless hesitation is, it can't be a person or a god. It could be a name rather than the concept. Like be a thing.
Actually, I do think it is the Templars, just as that risk of it. So the way I say it is that they have this power and this lording, and they just seem to get up through people. We've seen that with the brief bit of banter. Like everyone's kind of like not saying things around them. It's like you have you've got a mate who's a little bit problematic. It's all right until they say something. You're like, whoa, and you just carry on. You don't necessarily point it out. We've done that, although it's getting better nowadays. The attitude they have here. But then there's a brewing of action, right? So that's why there's always leaflets saying, like, stop that hesitating. Point out that they're using their power over things. And as a result, because of these protests that have been riled up with this god, I think, infecting people, but sort of like encouraging people to take action and smash the shields and to be aggressive, because I think that's the whole thing with these protests, is that one person doesn't make a difference, but a whole group of people is almost like a landslide, a rock slide, right? And I think as a result, they're trying to be more scary, and so they are customizing their outfits to be like aggressive, so that if one person was to face them, like I was in the book van, I would take that on my own, but if I had a whole group of people, all of us together could stop it. And I think so I think the clues I'm going to include is the armor has been added to make them look scary in one-on-one confrontations.
Because they are scared, is your theory.
Because they are scared.
I mean,
and that's why we got called in, because they're scared that it's because clearly the protests are working to a degree.
Like it's that because it's just subtle, but it's almost like you can't stop a river from breaking the dam. So they're trying their best to do it, but like the god, so I think the god
river.
is. Yeah, it's like, can you stop the ocean from waves in? So that banish hesitation is saying to everyone, hey, just go for it. We have your support. The protesters, we've got your support. Don't banish it. And then the bollards, I feel like they've been put in to disrupt the flow of the town and the village, right? Because normally you could drive down, and so I think they've been put in by the Templars to control the street. And so they can go and park in these places and use the garage and stuff. It's disrupting and it's separating people, like physically, but also mentally, to stop that grouping together.
If it's done by the god, though, because it's like irregular and organic, would that mean the Templars actually they're the ones who are like summoning this illegal god and blaming the protesters and being like, no, we didn't do it.
What is the instigating thing? Because we know there was protests and stuff when the SSPC came here, which would imply that happened before sacrifices started to be taken. But at what point did the situation kind of turn into the what's like? At what point did they start reacting? So the SSPC and the Templars start reacting, and the fact that these bollards are made of potentially organic matter, that to me sounds like hallowing saints, and that kind of shit, that's coming from somewhere for a reason. And the fact that the only god we've seen present here is the Petra Pater is
who doesn't do that.
Suspicious, I'm like cars, petrol, Templars, and also stone. Why are the protesters manifesting stone specifically?
If that's even true. It could be. And it could be.
Because they could have described anything. Why stone?
Yeah, I don't know. That's really interesting.
I do like the idea of it being like they've summoned something by accident and therefore now blaming stuff on the protesters, but it's actually they've lost control of whatever they have brought in.
I realise I didn't describe what those bollards are made of, and it is stone.
The hesitation thing hesitation is like, if you want to banish hesitation, it means you want to take action, correct?
Yeah.
You want to move forward rather than stop. Bollards are basically a manufactured way of causing hesitation or stopping. And I feel like there's a thread there that I'm not quite grasping.
I think it's the Templars, because if I was really scared, I'd want like a big stone wall to protect me.
Ooh, yeah.
And I might take some really drastic actions if I could sacrifice people to do that.
So the stone, and then their outfits, perhaps, and then we maybe we leave the banish hesitation off for now,
so we can use it for the next question.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that's good. So we'll just be rolling straight in this case.
Yeah, who's doing the rolling?
I'm nose goes.
I'm nose goes. It's Marta.
Wait, have you rolled at all yet?
Okay,
no pressure. Come on, fingers crossed.
I mean, good news. That's a 10.
Your answer is correct.
Wow.
So recap for us what your correct answer is to the question, who is in the most danger from this god?
I think it's the SSPC and the Templars. I think they fucked up. Is that? I'm assuming that's the consensus we got.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, love that.
So this unlocks 2 more questions. Complexity 4, can the rogue god's threat be neutralized? Complexity 6, why wasn't the rogue god handled through the proper channels? So you have 1 clue already that you could put towards those. You can gather some more. Billie is being taken to the SSPC while Nim and Jasper are following wherever Boel is going to her class. Let's follow Billie to the SSPC, if only so that I can describe that as the armored personnel carrier rolls up to this facility, you see a sign over the archway into the car park that says Outer Ornglen Seclusion and Spiritual Preparation Centre.
That's what it is. Seclusion and Spiritual Preparation Center. Love it.
There's a little sinking in my heart as I see that. I go, oh dear.
You can see this place is part monastery, part rehab, part spa, part prison.
Ah, yes.
It's out of town enough that it's quite peaceful. A lot of the trees around it have been cleared, so there's this big area of clear ground outside the high walls. You can see that you're being driven towards a watchtower with a Templar chapel at the bottom of it. There also looks to be an administration building nearby. Let's paint the scene. You've all seen sacrifices before. They're a part of life in this world. So what is it that's unsettling about how they're treated here? Because to be clear, people who are sort of awaiting sacrifice to the big licensed faiths, like the Saint Electric who keeps the lights on, are being kept here to, ostensibly, prepare themselves spiritually for the sacrifice that they're going to make.
There's like a garden and like a lake, and so you see people who they're just out, the sacrifices, they're out and doing stuff. So almost like certain facilities that we know here, but I think around each of their either neck or their hand is like a tag, and it says a number, so their patient number or the sacrifice number, and then what they've been assigned to, but also some various traits, so that if people were like, oh, we need a sacrifice for a particular god, they can have a look through the market, as it were, and go, ooh, that one would be quite good. So yeah, so they've got like a tag. So in my head, it's almost like how cows and lambs and all that stuff, they have like the number tag.
Yeah.
And it's
Clip to the ear, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of what you named this place and because of how this world operates and what I think I would expect being in it, or what Nim would expect, and again from their own personal experience with these institutions, we walk into a place that doesn't feel like a prison, and instead it's like a yoga wellness retreat vibe. Culty, weird, toxically positive, exactly the opposite of what you think you're going to find. Is like these people are going to be murdered horrifically, and yet instead of being mistreated or being made to be afraid, or the things that you would expect, it's like, what? It's like, this is even worse.
It's like too good to be true.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you get to, and then you just kind of just vanish one day, and we all just pretend like nothing happened and keep going and to our little yoga classes and, you know, and whatever it is that else is going on here. Like the worst kind of voluntary, conscious disassociation with what's going on, hesitation and inaction and all that sort of stuff, just to the max.
Yeah, I think that I really love this weird fucking wellness cult like vibe. I think that there is that coming from some staff members, some non-Templar staff people, because I feel like they don't have the scary uniforms where the sacrifices are. We already got you, man. We don't got to scare you like that. And instead, it is these like wellness guru mantras that they're playing over loudspeakers. It's not like sacrifice yourself for king and country kind of thing. It wouldn't be king, obviously, but like, you know, for your people, for your country, for your gods. It's very much like everything's fine. You relax. You don't have to worry about anything anymore, which is not the vibe that we do here. Like, we don't do that.
You know those really bad Instagram feel good,
Yes.
like empty phrases that everybody likes to have in a cup, in a mug or something. Just like that 24/7. Just trite, empty platitudes of positive crap constantly on.
From sniper towers that are hidden, like...
Yeah. Basically Aldous Huxley made real.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's like, these are people who are on a they are doomed, right? Their lives are only going to end one way, but they're given so much choice in how they spend their time in this place. It's like, here's the itinerary for today. You could do this, that, or the other. You could go and worship in a solitary way. You can attend a group class. You can use the pool. And like, I think anybody who spends any time in here, all the staff members see like people just getting absolute decision paralysis, because it's like, what meaning do any of these choices have?
Just the guilt of like, wow, the fact that you get to live this and experience it. It's almost like when you, I don't know, for whatever reason, you experience like immense luxury and what that feels like. And you're like, oh, this is actually kind of nice. And then you remember, wait, but it's actually built on a foundation of horrible suffering and other really bad things for other people. And you have that kind of moment where you're split and you're like, oh no. And then you feel guilty and you feel bad about it. And that sort of being pulled and pushed back and forth.
And Billie, you're driven up to this Templar chapter house. The watchtower up above it, there are, like you said, there are towers around all the way around the facility. This one is specifically attached to the chapter house. You can see that even though it's kind of mid-afternoon now and there's still plenty of daylight, there does seem to be a searchlight up top there that is on and moving, swinging about a little bit.
Constant threat of it, yeah.
Yeah, this place is kind of black stone in the white walls of the centre. The officer who accosted you in the van has introduced herself. Her name is Varda Kvorzen. She's the captain of the chapter here. And so she and the three other Templars that accompanied her to the garage escort you into the chapter house.
A full-on guard.
Jeez
Lovely.
Louise.
Out of interest, obviously she's altered her armor. Have the others altered their armor as well?
Yes, not to the extent that she has. They still have, like, the official insignia that they're supposed to have is still there. They haven't covered it up or removed it.
Oh,
but they have definitely customized their armor in various ways. You see, variations on the horns, scary eyes stenciled onto things. They don't look active, but imagery that is evocative of prayer marks that if you weren't too familiar, you might worry.
What is the Templar symbol?
I don't know. It would need to be something that could equally work as the logo for a security firm, because that's effectively, these guys are the Silt versus world equivalent of a security company.
Private security company.
I think it's probably a sword over an eye.
There you go.
Awesome. That's crazy. I love it.
So they're all wearing that. They all have that on a pauldron.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Oh, very cool. I've been trying to make small talk as much as I can, but it often revolves around like, you seem more like grim dark bunch. I think high fantasy. You've been a coming of age novel. I've got loads of them. They're really coming back, But again, silence probably. But keeping up this inane banter.
There's one of the three who seems like they might be receptive, but the others keep like stepping on their feet.
It's like I understand.
Oh, you know what? You should talk to them about their TBRs and their reading goals and whatever world version that's in this. What's it called? Goodreads.
Like
the thing where people
Goodreads,
talk about books online. And I say, what's your profile? Let's be friends. How do you feel about this release?
If anything, I talk about like do we have reading goals? I know there's this thing of I believe it's called book talk, but I like book talk, and I just like I don't take Finangle 5 horrors you should read that will keep you up at night. I'm like just tell me what they are. Don't and number 3 will scare you.
There's this sort of montage of Billie's book talk, ending in Varda's office behind her fortress-like desk.
Yep.
You find yourself opposite her across this desk as she steeples her fingers and cuts you off mid-book talk to say...
And that's why Crime and Punishment is actually underrated. Oh.
What is your angle?
Okay. And I'll go in and I'll bring out my ID card and the letter, which is probably how I was informed about this mission, because I don't do email. And I just slap it on the desk.
You're a busybody, is it? And you said you were here with 2 others.
Oh, yes, they are dotting the I's and crossing the T's and all that good stuff. But I'm glad I get to chat to you. Isn't this lovely?
I appreciate the oversight. I appreciate the concern. It's very good to know that the powers that be are taking what's happening here seriously. But you've wasted your journey. We have the situation under control.
Have you indeed? It seems like the first mention of protest, people are too scared to, and then I'm dragged into your office.
Would you like to make the information move?
I will.
I think probably with presence.
All right, so just with presence, so that's a 0, so it's just a straight roll. That's a 5.
Oh my gosh.
Your involvement here isn't needed, and more to the point is actually a hindrance and will get in the way of what we're doing here, our mission to keep the peace here around the SSPC. And as such, I can see no other course of action other than to keep you detained in this facility until such time as we can call the situation resolved.
Ooh, I don't like that. Could I mark one of my verses?
You certainly may. If you do that, you will go up to a 7 to 9, which will mean there'll still be a complication, but you will get a clue.
I'll do one from... I've got to do them in order on the verse of the prophecy. So I'll do the first one of that, which is the Whispered Psalm. Narrate a flashback to when you were initiated into the faith. What did you have to write as part of your initiation? Where did you have to write it? Billie is in her mid 40s. We go back 20 years to when the Volkswagen microbus was fairly new and spanking new. She's looking at it in a car parking lot. It's not been used, but it's had a few owners, but it's still that bright blue. And she's umming and ahhing over it. And then she buys it. She's like, it's a bit spontaneous, why the heck not? And that excitement of getting it, she gets behind the wheel and she starts to drive it out of the car lot and takes it to a beautiful park, like a national park. And it feels exciting because this is her first thing that she's bought with her own money. And as she sort of parks the car, turns off the ignition, the glove box opens. And inside is the driver's manual. And as she sort of looks at it and picks it up, along with all the other car documents and stuff, there's just something about it. It's very much in my head the very Haynes style of thing. So it almost had the car diagram when it's taken apart and stuff. Very unusual for these sort of manuals. And as she reads it, she sort of gets sucked in, and before she knows it, it's been 3 or 4 hours and she's finished the book. And then she starts it again, but this time she's underlining things and writing things in the columns. And it's that sort of slow process of gaining this knowledge of something that is ultimately completely useless to bar a small category of people, which is the owners of a Volkswagen microbus. So does it again and again. And then before she knows it, it's dawn of the next day. And the car manual is completely almost black with pencil lead that you can't read any of the words in it now. She's written over it so much. And she blinks and she has this knowledge, but it's very hard to get by, and it's in her head, but the book itself is just a completely solid lead-filled thing. She just looks at it, finds it a little bit weird, but knows something has happened, and she puts the manual back into the glove box and shuts it.
Here's your clue. Billie, you've got a keen eye for the analogue, and maybe as this memory is coming to the fore for you, you're seeing the rest of Vada's office, wall of filing cabinets behind her, this fortress of a desk in front of her. In the waste paper bin, you can see the remains of paperwork that has been hastily shredded in bulk.
Ooh.
A large amount of hastily shredded paperwork is your clue. And your complication is that as you're noticing this, your attention is drawn to the waste paper basket because it is rattling on the floor as the Templar chapter house shakes. Mortar sifts down from the brickwork. As the door to her office slams open, one of the other Templars bursts in, saying, "It's Eisen! We've lost control!" And he collapses to the floor, and one of his legs breaks off, fully petrified to stone.
Oh my god.
Whoa!
All under control, huh?
Jasper and Nim. Boel leads you not to a school, not to a college. She said she was heading to class, but she takes you across that derelict park with the swings slowly swinging in the wind to what used to be the Ornglen branch line train station. The trains don't run here anymore. The station is overgrown. Ornglen Unbroken, which is a slogan you see on a hastily erected painted banner. The protest movement seem to have made their encampment here in the old train station. A lot of the more hale and hearty citizens that you were sort of not seeing in town are here. It doesn't look militarized. It looks almost a bit more sort of kumbaya, like scout camp. There's people with ukuleles and people doing crafts and things like that. How do the occupants of this encampment commemorate their losses and their small victories?
Okay, I'm going to steal something from another piece of media and straight up the mural in Arcane, like of the dead, on one of the walls of the train station. Cool. It's disturbingly full, I feel.
The middle of the mural is faded and weathered, and there's much fresher paint at the edges. There are one or two riot shields here that have had Ornglen Unbroken sprayed on them.
Yes.
Some of the spikes snapped off some of the customized Templar armor, and actually some unspent tear gas canisters and unspent non-lethal rounds racked up on one of the slightly tilted over carriages in the siding.
Have you seen these things where people like stack up round shaped rocks?
Oh, yeah.
Like a cairn?
Cairn?
Is that what it is in the UK?
Yeah, they're called cairns.
Because I think it's also like a thing they do in Tibet and in other like mountainous areas of the world. And it's sometimes kind of an altar, and it can function in a variety of ways. Something like a cairn, made of stone, made of car pieces. I'm not sure. But it's some sort of remembrance.
Maybe it's like its own boundary, as if we've got these stone things in town, they've got their own, but it's made out of bits of metal, bits of places, so that it's their own boundary, almost like mirroring it.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe part of their protection or security system. Yeah, because how have they kept the SSPC / Templars out of this place? There might be some sacrificial situation that these little cairns are being used. People bleed themselves on them or something, to make sure that this particular place remains hidden or unseen by the SSPC.
As you two are sort of going through, when people greet each other, it's always sort of like top and tailed with banished hesitation. As a sort of like a...
Very fun.
It's acknowledging what the fight is still. We should still but be resolute in that sort of like comradeship. And it celebrates both the losses and the victories, because we know there's still more to do. As
you arrive here, Boel greets somebody with that greeting. They say it back to each other. An older man, tattered, pretty unkempt. He looks like he's been living here rather than like commuting here from a house, but still very like straight-backed and upright. He's got a hat on with homemade blinkers on the side, so he can only look ahead. And he greets Boel and says, "Boel, who have you brought? Who are these?" we're a big tent here, and if you're here to join and protest with us and fight back, then you're very welcome. But understand they have lots of different tactics. We have to be suspicious of outsiders. So tell me, what's your business here?
Oh, we're not here to hurt anybody. We're passing through town. We have a book mobile. My colleague here's an entertainer.
Pull out a flower.
A little bit of joy in the middle of the fight is important. You can't lose sight of what we're fighting for.
Exactly. And I'm a doctor if you need it. And we came here on our way. We heard people might have been getting injured by a stray god, and that sounds terribly dangerous.
Injuries, and you're a doctor, you say?
Yes.
Yeah, we have work for you if you're willing.
Of course.
He leads you to one of those heeled over train carriages in the sidings, and there are a few people in there, all of whom have some variation on stiffness in various limbs. Like, difficult to walk, can't raise my arm above my head, can only look straight ahead, can't turn my neck, that kind of thing. So if you'd like to investigate those, then you might be able to find something.
Oh, yeah, bud, because my one thing I can do is getting clues from people who are hurt.
Hooray!
There you go.
I'm going to try to find the person with, like, that looks maybe the worst off, that can still kind of communicate, or maybe not. I don't care.
I think you find somebody who's like the one who's trying to make the least fuss, but is clearly the worst off, like the least able to move.
We zoopin over there. Oh, I'm just here to help, and just like looking over them, like, and doing this like very informal checkup. It's not like being at a doctor's. It's like being at a chiropractor. Like it's rough stuff, but kind of like just moving them around and like. So, how did this happen?
I hesitated. I'm ashamed to say it, but I let myself stray for a second, and it got in.
What? I am so sorry. You're going to have to explain more than that. What does that mean?
Make your move,
Time to make
and we'll
my
work out.
roll.
Yeah, what does that mean? And you crack their neck, and it's
Take out a chisel and be like,
It doesn't hurt. I actually can't feel anything in those areas.
Oh no!
Great.
Concerning.
So this is a roll plus vitality.
All right. Ooh, okay. So I rolled an 8, and vitality's a 1, so that's a 9.
Nice.
Great. So you've succeeded. So you're going to take on a condition from this person. I'll tell you what that is in a second.
Delightful.
And on a 9, choose one from the bullet points under the move.
Oh, bud, it's gain insight about the illness in the form of a clue.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And, yes. And it says I get to tell the keeper what it is, so I get to tell you what the clue is.
Sure.
Yes, you sit down, Matt. Yeah, he's taking over the...
You cut away some of this person's clothing, and the stiff parts of their body are petrifying into stone. They're not just stiff. It's not just muscle stiffness. This is clearly a divine influence. Yeah, what you can't do on one of these actions when they're in their line with their horns and their shields and their tear gas and everything, the one thing you can't do is allow yourself to think, what if I just turned around and went home? I can't do this. They're too powerful. I should just stop and turn around and take a step back, because that's when it gets in and it eats that fire. It takes that fire in you that brought you to the protest, and it takes that as a sacrifice, and it bakes you solid with it.
What's it? Who is it that's taking it? I don't think I've heard of this one before.
Murmurs from around the carriage. You hear various names. You hear Stone Shackle. You hear Stopper in Tracks. You hear Clayfoot. You hear Stern Old Stony. You hear Basilisk.
Oh, Jesus, that last one's scary. I think the clue is that the god is new and still forming.
Ooh, yeah, it's not even discovered itself what it's doing. It's
Yeah,
been
like
brought,
it's still finding itself.
and that makes no sense because like we've talked about it as it like it maybe is an accidental summoning, and it's
sounds
now
like it.
struggling. It's its own confusion, so it doesn't know it's doing this. Oh,
Yeah.
Lots of gods are created by accident in the Silt verses.
Yep.
You have to be careful what you invest with meaning.
Pay attention to something a little too much and
Mm.
voila.
Oh, love it.
Very hungry god.
Take the condition from this person, petrifying.
Oh God.
I'm not going to give you full-on petrified.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that. I'm like, well, that was my one. See y'all.
Yeah.
Parts of your body are starting to turn to stone as you use, in an act of worship to the Pox-Martyr, take on some of this ailment.
Ooh.
While this is happening, and we're all I'm assuming this gentleman who welcomed us.
He says his name is Swinson Millage. He tells you about how he was in the first wave, like he was protesting the place before it was cool. He saw where the wind was blowing. He knew before when they were getting planning permission, he was like, I know which way this is going to go. They're going to build
He's
it.
been there before. He's done this whole rigmarole with other things.
And
so,
if it's there, then they'll obviously target us with it. So we have to nip this thing in the bud, but he wasn't able to. They were too strong. You can see he has, like most of the people here, like not all of them are bad enough off to be in the train car, but almost everybody here has some bit of stiffness somewhere about them, including Swinson.
Whilst I talk to Swinson, and assuming, as you say, this is a sort of camp and there is hubbub and there's people going on about their lives and preparing for their protests, there's activity, there's action happening. And so Nim will position themselves following this altar of theirs, the seat, the best seat in the house. They want to sort of position themselves so they can both communicate with Swinson and also take in the narrative of this space and all the stories that are being told.
That's beautiful.
I know. I'm like, how do I make this
Beautiful.
work?
Right.
Whilst pulling the same kind of trick of being like, placing hand on shoulder and marking them with a talisman, again, of, in this case, camaraderie and sort of empathy, and this thing you do when you watch a play and you feel, even though it's a fiction, that connection, that's what they're trying to create in this moment. Nim wants to, as they're doing this, they want to ask or open with who is responsible for this rogue god, this illness spreading through your people.
Make the information move. You said sort of looking out, watching for the narrative in this place. So I think this is probably focus.
Yeah.
But if you're marking the best seat in the house, you can do this with advantage.
I will do 3 die, right?
3 dice, take the 2 highest.
Best of luck. We got you back.
Oh my God. This is kind of beautiful, but I mean, look at this.
4, 4, and 4. Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Not sure those are great, but there we go. So pick whichever you like, because they're all the
Whichever
same.
4.
Heck yeah.
So that's 8.
My focus is 1, so that would just be a 9.
9
for Sally.
total.
You'll get a clue with a complication. You could write a verse if you don't want a complication.
You know what? I'm going to write a verse.
Heck yeah, let's go.
So to make this a full success, a clue without a complication, we're going to write the verse of the heavy heart. Each custodian recalls a time that they chose inaction and tells us the action that they considered but didn't take.
Once upon a time, Nim was one of many orphaned children in this nation who was taken in by the government and placed in an educational institution. And as soon as they were old enough to show any sort of aptitude, grouped and classed and sent away to nurture said aptitude. In Nim's case, they were a natural-born performer, a storyteller, the sort of person who could come up with the most fascinating, fantastical stories and grab people's rapt attention and transport them for a time to a different time and place. Also a very good liar, a very good manipulator. The government felt that they had the perfect set of skills to join the Propaganda Bureau. And so they sent them off to the National School of Performance for Social Cohesion and Harmony, where they trained them to do just that: cohesion, harmony through communication and storytelling. The kicker is that obviously there's a lot of orphans and they're expensive to keep, and propaganda obviously is linked to its own series of gods actually, and so gods must be fed. So the way these schools work is that the top 3 students get to graduate and join the department, and all the other children are sacrificed. They're either hallowed or straight up fed to the god. It's a bit of a difficult situation because obviously, children, they will be children, but you are living with other people for a long time and you're training with them and relationships form. And then you come to a point where you have to kind of choose who lives and who dies. And that's going to depend on your ability to perform and your ability to lie. That's when the backstabbing starts and the manipulations begin. And that's when all these children's skills and training is turned on each other. And that's how the government picks the best of the best. And perhaps on graduation or come graduation, there might have been a case where someone Nim was very close to, perhaps reasonably, chose survival over friendship and boycotted Nim's performance, their final show, if you wish, that they would be given to the government officials, therefore setting them up for sacrifice. And in a moment of desperation, Nim might have done her first little ritual, her first talisman, drawn in blood, sweat, and tears, all brought on by her own performance. And so when the time came to choose sacrifices, and she had maybe the opportunity to forgive or help said friend to be a part of the surviving few, they chose silence and inaction, and they let the machine and the gears do their thing, stood by and hoped to be entertained.
All right, lovies. It's me, Matt, your compere and keeper for this studio production. I hope you enjoyed Act 2 of It Feeds on Fire. There will now be an interval of 2 weeks before our final act, Act 3 of 3. But we won't leave you in the lurch next week. We'd like to invite you backstage to overhear us populating each of our Custodians' altars with the special items that you might already have heard them invoking to improve their chances of success during our story. Do stay tuned now for the credits. But, just before that, I can't help but noticing an ad in the programme for a sort of play-at-home version of this production. If you own or have read or have played the Silt vs. role-playing game from the Gauntlet, then you know it comes with a number of assignments for the Custodians to explore. What we're playing here on It Feeds on Fire is not one of the ones out of the book, it's a custom assignment that I wrote. And if you want to play this assignment as well, you can now get it at merelymat.itch.io/stoneshackle. If you do play this game, or if you play any of the Carved from Brindlewood family of games, like Brindlewood Bay, The Between, Public Access, Rosewood Abbey, then you know that all of the assignments or mysteries or whatever each game calls their scenarios are almost infinitely replayable because of the way different clues will come up each time and the way that the players come up with their own theory to explain the clues, which then the dice decide whether it's right or wrong. So hearing our playthrough isn't necessarily a spoiler if your game group wants to play this assignment as well. Your outcome could be very, very different to the one that we come up with. So if you're playing the Silt vs. RPG and you're running out of assignments that came with the book, or you just want a little bit of variety, or you've liked what you've heard on these past 2 episodes and want to see how your Custodians would handle similar circumstances, then head on over to merelymat.itch.io/stoneshackle to pick up your copy of this assignment we've been playing. That's it for now. Enjoy the credits. We'll see you backstage next week, and then back in your seats in 2 weeks' time for Act 3 of 3. This has been It Feeds on Fire, a studio production from Merely Roleplayers, starring Marta de Silva as Nim Harrow, B. Narr as Jasper Finch, and Fiona K.T. Howat as Billie Fletcher. I'm Matt Boothman, and I play the supporting cast. The theme music is by me, and I edited and produced this episode. We were playing the Silt vs. Role-Playing Game by Gabriel Robinson and Jason Cordova, and published by The Gauntlet. The game is based on the Silt vs. audio drama by John Ware and Muna Hussain. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, the show must go on.
Boom.
What a bar for me and B to think of.
Right? Damn, we're not gonna let you go first next time.
Foggy Outline.